we're just gonna have to do this. This way, this is gonna be my second time recording this. So hopefully I can get it right this time. We'll see. But hi, my name is River, aka Riv, also known as Riv Critter online. I am an artist, a streamer, and I guess aspiring YouTuber. Now I don't know. We'll see how this goes. But yeah, I just wanted to talk a little bit about the speed drawing that you guys are gonna see in a second here. It was a comic that I drew for hourly comic day. I think that was February 2nd, 2022. So it's already been like a year old. Just shows like how long it takes me to freaking do anything, I guess. But it's still something that I liked and I had a lot of fun doing it. And I think it was an important time in my life. So I wanted to share that with you guys. I didn't capture the whole creation of the comic, but I think I did capture a majority of it. With that being said, yeah, let's go ahead and get over to the video. Okay, so now we're on the actual video of the speed draw. But yeah, Hourly Comic Day is a day when artists basically participate in this sort of challenge in which they create a comic for every hour of their day and all the things that they did within it. And you know, I still had to go back and work on a lot of this after the fact because, well, comics are just time consuming. And I'm still sort of learning my process of how to create them. But generally, I start these kind of comics by creating some very rough thumbnails, and I include a bit of script underneath the thumbnail to describe the scene or the dialogue. And since this was a pretty short comic and I was just doing them kind of impromptu, I didn't do a whole lot of scripting to begin with. But for my longer format comic, I do have a script typed out, kind of like a movie script. From there, I can work in Clip Studio Paint, which is a digital art program, and I basically go into more detail and try to flesh out my initial thumbnails. For this comic, I did keep all my panels the same size as I knew I would be posting it on Instagram, and things just tend to look best in a square format on there. I also decided to color and even shade the whole thing, which I'm not sure if I would make that choice again, but it was still good practice for me. And later on, you might see that I adjusted the shading on the final piece and that I used a type font for the speech bubbles, just because I realized my handwriting is a bit hard to read. But that's okay, we live and we learn. At some point, I would like to begin uploading this little diary type of series on Webtoons, so we'll definitely see how that goes. So as I mentioned, I drew this on February 2nd, 2022, and around this time I had some major life changes. I had this day off because I had just started a new job that allowed me to work part-time, and I had an extra 2 days off, which was great. That has worked out really well for me because I feel like I have so much more time now to pursue my art on the side. I also still occasionally help out at my old previous full-time job doing graphic design work and other seasonal work, but predominantly I've been able to focus on my art when I'm not working at my current job. And I know this is not something a lot of people are able to do, but it's just something that I found that works for me. But at this time, I was also grieving for the loss of someone who I had dated in the past, and for the loss of a relationship that I thought I was hopeful for, but it turns out it just wasn't meant to be. And I could accept that that was okay, however, this still was not an easy time. I don't know if I'll ever go into detail about this, probably not in this video, of course, but it was very sudden and violent, and it was not like an accident. And even though I wasn't particularly close with this old partner of mine at the time, it was still a huge shock to me. And I continue to have so many questions about it and just so few answers. But I guess things like grief are part of the human experience, and through it, I was still able to create a cozy little comic to document what I did that day to make myself feel better. I had been really active on Twitch for some time, which is a live streaming platform if you didn't know. I began streaming on there in the beginning of 2020, I want to say, and I had been pretty consistent with it since then. I've met a lot of really sweet people through Twitch, both streamers and viewers, and I've been able to form, I guess, my brand a bit more through it as well. I still do my best to keep up with my streaming schedule, but there are times, of course, when I take breaks from it, which is important to do for our creativity and to prevent burnout. At the time of this hourly comic, I was really pouring myself into Twitch, and since it had a sort of accountability along with it, at least for me it did, then that was something that helped me build the habit of carving out time for art. And I used it as a sort of technique I could use to get myself to sit down quietly and work on art for at least a few nights a week. Another way I think I've been able to continue making art consistently is by just having a small pocket sketchbook on me at almost all times. Anyone who knows me knows I like to keep that freaking thing on me, so even though what you're seeing right now was done on a screen tablet and in Clip Studio Paint, I still often do thumbnails and sketches in a physical sketchbook and on scraps of paper. I'm often just on the go, and I like to be able to capture an idea or memory or observation in that moment, so I highly recommend artists keep a little pocket sketchbook on them. Like one of my favorite brands is literally just from Walmart. And then you can have another larger sketchbook at home, or just take your smaller sketches and build on them later. I personally do find I struggle with actually completing projects. I find I get very inspired and motivated pretty easily, but then I just feel overwhelmed when a project is super daunting or it requires a lot of organization, or it just needs to be worked on over an extended period of time. I struggle with a sort of perfectionism, and I start to think that there's a certain level my artwork or writing should be at, but I found that that can prevent me from actually just creating the things I want to make. It's hard for me to accept that something may not be in the quote-unquote correct order or fashion that I had originally envisioned, but I'm doing my best to move past that feeling and just see how my projects can evolve on their own through the process of their creation. I recently launched an Etsy shop, and I just have a few stickers for sale for now, but that was something I had always wanted to do. I was able to break down a big task into several smaller tasks, but I also didn't try to create an extremely lofty goal for myself. I really just wanted the experience of making and managing a small art shop online, and I wanted to be able to offer my friends and my followers my artwork in a more physical form. You know, it's one thing to see a drawing in a sketchbook or a post on Instagram or whatever, but it's really something else when I can actually give it to someone. Like, here it is, put it anywhere you like. I'm sure there are a lot of resources about realistic goal setting and time management that could talk more in depthly than what I was able to in this video, but these things are just my experiences and thoughts on the matter. And again, I'm still learning for myself, but I'm having a pretty good time figuring it out. But okay, I think I'll go ahead and wrap up the video now. I just want to thank you guys all for watching, and I hope you're also able to find the time and energy to work on your projects and dreams. Please let me know if you do, if you'd like to share, and I'm sure I'll be talking to you guys pretty soon. Until then, bye.